Good afternoon, Jets Nation. Welcome to the Jude Show, and today going to be answering some questions about our potential quarterbacks next season. So let's go ahead and answer those questions. So the 5 quarterbacks we're going to be talking about in today's video are Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, Tom Brady, and Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, the first question we're going to be asking is how much will it take to acquire these quarterbacks? So Lamar Jackson is going to be the most expensive player to acquire, simply because the dude's the youngest player on this list and has a lot more football left in the tank than all of these players. If Lamar Jackson is traded, it's going to be for multiple first-round picks and a pretty hefty contract. That's what Matthew Stafford, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson have been traded for in the past. Most likely, a team that trades for Lamar Jackson will have to give up 3 first-round picks and sign him to a 5-year, $250 million contract with most of the money, if not all of it, guaranteed. So that's a lot to give up for Lamar Jackson, but it will be worth it because Lamar Jackson is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL and a franchise guy for any team. Aaron Rodgers is also going to cost a lot. Apparently, the Green Bay Packers want 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers, and they're also going to trade him, if they trade him, to an AFC team. They've completely shut off the idea of trading Aaron Rodgers to an in-conference team, which I don't blame whatsoever. So the New York Jets are in the AFC, so we're not crossed off the list. And apparently, Woody Johnson is willing to give the Green Bay Packers 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers. That's a rumor on the street. Rodgers also has a very, very big contract, talking 2 years, $100 million remaining on it. But apparently the New York Jets can afford him under our cap, which is definitely interesting, but it does make sense. So 2 first-round picks, hefty contract that the Jets can afford. Not a whole lot to give up for a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. Derek Carr also probably isn't going to cost much to acquire as well. While, he's not set to be a free agent this offseason and everyone's talking about which team is going to trade for Derek Carr, he very well could be released because the dude has a no-trade clause in. If you don't know what that means, basically he can deny any trade that involves him. So if Carr really wants to, he can decline any trade the Raiders accept involving Derek Carr and force himself to become a free agent. Now, you might ask, well, how can he force himself to become a free agent? Why are the Raiders trying to get rid of him? Well, they have until February 17th to move on from Derek Carr, or they pay him a bunch of guaranteed money that they don't want to pay him. And February 17th is 3 days after the Super Bowl. So Derek Carr is either going to get released or traded very shortly after the Super Bowl. Personally, I think it's released, and he's going to take some time to think about which team he wants to play for. If Derek Carr is traded, it wouldn't cost a first-round pick, probably a second and a fourth. That's what I think Derek Carr gets traded for. And then we get to Garoppolo and Brady, 2 quarterbacks expected to hit the free agent market this offseason. They're going to just cost a contract. That's all it's going to cost to get these players. Tom Brady signed to the Buccaneers for a 2-year, $50 million contract a few years back. I feel like he signs to a similar contract, maybe even for less money now that, of course, he's older. And then Jimmy Garoppolo is probably going to be signed for something similar to Tom Brady, but probably a bit more money simply because, he is younger than Brady and has a lot more football left in the tank. And then we look at which quarterbacks are the best long-term options. Well, Lamar Jackson obviously is the best. He's the youngest player on this list. He has a lot more football left in the tank than all of these guys. And then second to him is Derek Carr. Now, Garoppolo and Carr are both the same age. Both of them are 31, although Carr is a few months older. Carr was born in March, Garoppolo was born in November, but both are 31 years old, which is the bottom line. I feel like Carr lasts longer in the NFL just because he doesn't have an injury history and Garoppolo does. And then we get to Rodgers and Brady, 2 quarterbacks who were in their 40s. Brady did say he wants to play until he's 45 years old a few years back. He's 45 right now, so he might retire this all season. And the same can be said about Aaron Rodgers. There's been a lot of rumors of him retiring as well. So last season could have been the last we saw of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, which is pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, Rodgers, Brady, if they play football next season, are not going to be long-term answers for whatever team they're on. And then we get into playoff experience for these quarterbacks. Obviously, Tom Brady has a ton of playoff experience. I mean, the dude has been to the Super Bowl 10 times. He's won the Super Bowl 7 times and has won a Super Bowl MVP award 5 times, all of which are NFL records. I'm pretty sure Brady has made it to the Super Bowl every single year he's been a starting quarterback as well, which is absolutely insane. Rodgers also has a lot of playoff experience as well. He's made it to the playoffs pretty much every single year he's been a starting quarterback. He's won an Super Bowl and he's also won a Super Bowl MVP as well. Jimmy Garoppolo has some playoff experience as well. Now, he's won 2 Super Bowls, 2 of which were with the New England Patriots as a backup. But as a starting quarterback, he's made it to the NFC Championship twice and has made it to the Super Bowl 1 time. And then we get to Lamar Jackson and Derek Carr, 2 quarterbacks who basically have 0 playoff experience. I mean, Derek Carr's played in 1 game, which he lost to the Bengals. Lamar Jackson's played in 2 games, which he lost, both of them to the Tennessee Titans. Although some people might look at no playoff experience as a red flag, look at Matthew Stafford, a quarterback who only played 2 playoff games before becoming a Los Angeles Ram. Very next season, wins a Super Bowl. So Carr and Jackson's lack of playoff experience could be a blessing in disguise for the New York Jets. Now let's take a look at these guys' injury history. So Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady are some really healthy dudes. Aaron Rodgers has only missed time in 2 out of his 15 seasons as a starter due to injury. Tom Brady has only had 1 season-ending injury in his entire NFL career, and the fact that the dude is playing in every single game per year in his 40s is absolutely absurd. And Derek Carr has played in 143 out of 148 possible games, and he missed 2 of those games due to getting benched. So Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, some battle-tested veterans, and all 3 of these guys have played through some pretty serious injuries in their careers as well. So they're dedicated to the game. They're doing whatever it takes to win football games, and that's the stuff you like to see in your quarterback. But then we get to Lamar Jackson and Jimmy Garoppolo, and these guys would be considered injury prone. I mean, Garoppolo's only played 1 full season as a starting quarterback. I mean, it seems like every year we're hearing about some type of injury Jimmy Garoppolo has, and the same can be said about Lamar Jackson. I mean, he really hasn't had a problem with injuries in his career until the past 2 seasons. 2021, missed 5 games due to injury. In 2022, missed 6 games, including the playoffs, due to an injury as well. And the interesting thing about that is the injuries happened at pretty much the same exact time. And with Lamar Jackson's playing style, with him liking to use his legs a lot, that might be concerning. Basically, he starts to wear down towards the middle of the season and basically just can't play the end. And that's definitely concerning. And you want your quarterback to be there for when you make the playoffs. You don't want your backup quarterback leading your team into the playoffs because most of the time it doesn't work out. So Lamar Jackson's past 2 seasons, his injuries definitely are a cause for concern. If you put Lamar Jackson in a system that doesn't really require him to use his legs as much and lets him show off his other talents, maybe his injuries don't start to rack up like they have the past 2 years. So definitely something interesting to consider. And now get into some of these quick hit stuff, talking about last season's stats. Lamar Jackson and Jimmy Garoppolo's need to be taken with a grain of salt because Garoppolo played in 11 games and Jackson played in 12. But in those 12 games, Lamar Jackson had 2,242 passing yards, 17 passing touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 764 rushing yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns. And in those 11 games, Jimmy Garoppolo had 2,437 passing yards, 16 passing touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Tom Brady finished the season with 4,694 passing yards, 25 passing touchdowns, and 9 interceptions in 17 games played. And Tom Brady also set the record for most passing attempts in a single season in NFL history this year. And the fact that he only threw 9 interceptions definitely is impressive. Derek Carr finished the season with 3,522 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions in 15 games played. And Aaron Rodgers finished the year with 3,695 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions in 17 games played. Well, these are some questions I've seen a lot of Jets fans ask over the past few weeks about our new quarterback, and here's some answers to those questions, proven by nothing but facts. No bias in these questions whatsoever, just facts went into the answers. After doing all the research, my guy for the quarterback job is still Derek Carr, but let me guys know who you want to be the Jets starting quarterback next season. Also wouldn't mind Aaron Rodgers either. But thank you guys for watching. I'm your host Jude, signing off for now. See you guys later. Peace.